Hi, Steve. Congratulations. How do you manage emotions and the challenges of playing on the road again with great consequences here? Well, obviously, you did that in Seattle, and what's that like for you?
Me personally, I draw back on years of experience as a player, how to manage oneself on the road, curb your emotions, focus on what we can control. And as a coach, much of the same. And, if you do notice nerves creeping into players during the week prior to a bigger game, or possibly even tomorrow, helping them out with tips and just communicating with them and making sure that we are focused at the task at hand, which is to win a game, and to blend out everything else. I think that is the best way to go about moments like this, that has served me well with my career as a player and as a coach.
We'll stay to our right. Go ahead, Jonathan.
This year has been a long one for LAFC with a lot of competitions. What's it like to get to another final and perhaps find a reward for all the hard work this team has shown to grow and evolve and forge ahead?
It has been a long one. It's been a lot of work. At times felt like an impossible task we were put through, but that has made us stronger. And that is a source of our motivation to get here and now to win. And the team is really focused and a good moment mentally and physically. We've had time to prepare tactically, so we feel prepared for the game. And I don't feel like it was last year. I don't think the nerves are there trying to accomplish something new. We did it last year, and this year feels a little more focused. And we just want to win, and it doesn't matter how.
We'll stay to our right. Go ahead, Charlie.
Hey, Steve. Giorgio said some very thought-provoking things about how you've managed the team through all these ups and downs. And we see teams that have a run like you did in CCL are often just devastated by the experience and can't recover. So I was wondering if you could go into the psychology of how you manage that and how you read your team, and how much of that is your experiences in education as a coach versus having been a player yourself.
Yeah, I think this psychology is moving to Germany when you're 19 on your own and going through some difficult moments in your own career. And the German mentality is pretty straightforward. After losses, put your head down and start working. And that has been instilled upon me in my career as a player, in my club days. And I think hard work goes a long way. And I really think trying to forget what just happened and focus on the next task at hand is something, I try to do and lead by example. And I will not talk about games for too long. And we try not to do that at LAFC and review video too much from what happened in the past. We're always moving forward and trying to get better. And very thankful that the players bought into that and continue to do. For me, I think that's the only way you can survive in this business for that long. And you just can't stop moving forward. And we do that. So again, it takes the players buying into it and believing in it, and they do. And I've been very grateful for that attitude all season. And to be hungry and to stay hungry and to try to get better. That's what we're constantly trying to do in every department at LAFC.
We're going to transition to our left. We'll take our first question from Simon. Josh, you'll be second.
Steve, you mentioned a few times this season how difficult it's been to manage resources with not only the CONCACAF, but the League's Cup in the middle of the summer as well, and the international break situation and so on. I mean, we're coming to that time of year after this game where the league starts looking at those kind of issues. There's been talk about maybe a fourth DP and different things. What kind of thing would you like to see, though? Is it more expansive than just adding another DP, or what would you like to see?
Well, thankfully, I do not have to make any of those decisions, nor do I have to come up with any ideas. I think there are other people who are being paid for that. So I will take a pass on that. Just to answer your question, I do believe, as best as I can, I do believe there are solutions out there. It's going to take some compromising on all sides, but I do think keeping the health of the players in mind, at the same time trying to give MLS teams the best chance possible to perform and to succeed, should be the main focus.
Steve, good to see you. History is not on your side on Saturday. Not many teams that have had the chance to repeat have done so in this league. You've reminded us constantly since you've taken over the job that what happened in the past doesn't necessarily dictate what's going to happen in the game in front of you. So why do you feel it's so difficult for teams to repeat in this league when given the chance? And why will you be successful in this spot?
Well, I think reasons is pretty simple. Just roster building and rules and regulations makes it difficult to kind of roll the same team back out. And there's 29 teams in our league now, and all very competitive, and a lot of good organizations and teams, and so it just makes it difficult to win again. I think those are maybe the biggest and most obvious reasons. And yeah, I said it. I answered a question in the same manner earlier. What happened last week at home against Houston or 2 weeks ago in Seattle has no bearing on tomorrow. And it is one game. We will approach that game like every other and try to get through the first half. That's our first objective. And that mentality our players have, and you'll see it Saturday.
We're staying to our left.
Hi, Coach Ray here. I wanted to go back, not to the game of Houston, but to the Flares, of course, and your experience in Germany. I'm curious what you think of the punishments coming in immediately in MLS Cup, kind of restricting that supporter culture in America that is, coming over from South America and Europe. What do you are your opinions on that?
Not really up to date as far as punishment goes, if anything has been said. So I can tell you our fan culture in LA is amazing. The experience, the feeling people get in our stadium, every time somebody goes there for the first time says, wow, I've never felt anything like this, Americans. And the feeling I got the first time I was there, it just threw me back to Europe. It's what it feels like, and it's what it looks like. I couldn't be any more proud of our fans the way they support us. I'm not condoning illegal activities, but our fans are amazing. The atmosphere is amazing, and I wish every stadium felt like that.
Please proceed.
Hi, Steve. What has it been like working with Ryan Hollingshead the last 2 years, and can you just speak to the importance that he has for your team?
It's like working with one of your high school buddies. He's such a good guy, very likable, obviously an accomplished athlete and player as well, but almost makes me put my guard down a bit because he is so nice and likable and just kind of always has a smile on his face, loves coming to work, does work hard. And, I think Ryan is a player many people kind of look over, but he has a lot of qualities that go unnoticed. And certainly a player we count on in big moments, and have been able to use him and he us. So it's been a great relationship, but yeah, he's a joy to coach. It doesn't feel like coaching or work. It's just hanging out with Ryan, which is one of my favorite things.
Staying to our left.
Hi, Steve. Through that kind of congested schedule through kind of late spring, summer, where results weren't probably as good as they were during the first part of the season, then towards the end, what did you learn about your team during that period? And then how do you think that kind of can inform the way that they approach tomorrow and like the, potentially through setbacks that they might experience?
Well, having a break after leading into the Leagues Cup, that's I think where we learned our biggest lesson, that what we're doing is right, and how we want to play with this group is also correct. All this group needs is a little bit of freshness and rest. And coming out of that break, going into our first Leagues Cup match, you saw that. And that gave us confirmation that we are on the right track. We don't need to change anything. We are doubling down, and we just have to make sure we manage the load of the players as good as possible through the congested schedule. And none of the performances or losses that we had or about poor moments were because of tactics, because of what we're trying to do is wrong. It was more of a physical issue, if anything. And like I said earlier, we were put in some pretty impossible situations. So it was very understandable, and it was easy to get over for the group, and we just moved forward.
Coach Carlos Nava with ESPN. After working all this time with Carlos Vela, what did you learn about him? And what do you think about his career at this point?
It's a storied career. I've said it many times. I love watching Carlos train. I love watching him play. His talent, his movement, his coordination, his left foot is something I dreamed of always having, but never could. It's perfect, and it's a joy to watch in an LAFC jersey, not when he wears a Mexican jersey. I mean, on the opposing side, but yeah, he's a pleasure to watch. He's had an amazing career. It's been fantastic for LAFC, as LAFC has been good for him. But I've enjoyed getting to know the person Carlos even more. He's a very smart, intelligent, well-liked guy, funny. And I think that is maybe more important for LAFC than his left foot. I think he's our leader, and he is the least selfish person or world-class player I've ever met. And you know, he is important for us as a group. So he's been a joy to work with, very easy to communicate with. We have a very straightforward relationship as far as on the field stuff, and then you know, off the field, he's our captain. So Carlos, we're blessed to have him, but I couldn't be happier for the guy beat another final, and hopefully he's able to raise another trophy.
Coach, we're going to transition for a moment, take a question from Zoom, then we'll come back to the room. For our question from Zoom, Jean-Francois, you may proceed.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for your time. What can you say about Wilfried Nancy's style of play and coaching style? Giorgio Chiellini said yesterday that he was a maestro. Do you agree with that? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, watching their games, their goals, it's beautiful. Yeah, they do a great job. I think their ideas are obviously based out of possession, but I think it's a very complete game model. I think it's just more than passing. There's verticality in his game. There's urgency and goal orientation. So it's not just passing the ball. So it's a complete way to view the offensive organization side of our game. And they do a great job, and they're deservedly in the final. And it's going to be a very difficult task for us. So compliments to him and his team for installing their principles and behaviors on this team, much as he did in Montreal. And like I said, it's going to be a difficult game for us and fun to watch. But like our system, every system has its vulnerabilities, and we will try to expose those.
I want to come back to our right, Joe.
Steve, Joe Lowry, thanks for taking the time to do this. You mentioned doubling down on your approach earlier in the year. How would you articulate that approach, and maybe how have you articulated it in the past to players that are joining the club?
I think every coach and every team goes through a stage or a phase in a season or a coach's tenure where you rethink things and you maybe deviate to something different, a little more defensive, a little more offensive, shift players around, a little different starting positions. And I'm not talking about just a one-off where you play a back five instead of a back four. You know, a tactical shift. And that's not happening at LAFC. And I think that's what I meant. You know, we feel very comfortable with the way we play. And everything at our club is aligned. Our academy, our scouting, our analysts, everything is kind of moving in that direction. So for us, doubling down, I think makes us stronger and gives you a foundation for the future, even without me as a coach. And I think that's important.
Steve, thanks for the time. Timothy Tillman joined the club in February. Obviously, he kind of navigated his way through Germany after being with Bayern and some others. What's your relationship been like with him, and overall, how pleased have you been with his first season here in MLS for the club?
Yeah, I think my relationship with him is fantastic. He's a good kid. It's great for me. Keep up my German as well. But I think our relationship on the field is pretty simple. I know his tactical upbringing very well. That's how I was taught the game and through my coaching courses in Germany. And he knows that I know that. And he knows what I expect of him. And it's very easy for us to talk about what we expect of each other and what we need from him at certain moments. He has a strong tactical foundation and is able to play in multiple positions and understands the differences and behaviors when asked to do so. And Timmy, Timmy is half American, so I think moving from Germany, where a place where he grew up, to coming here has been personally for him pretty amazing. And he's developed and grown through this year off the field and gotten to know the United States, more specifically Los Angeles, in a way that, you know, he didn't think it was possible a couple of years ago. So it's been that transformation for him off the field as well. And it's been a delight to see that happen in front of my own eyes. And from what I can tell, he's very content and happy because he has a smile on his face, which isn't always true of my friends overseas.